So I think the story of James Morrill is a special one because almost no one knows about it. It's got to be one of the most epic Australian stories that has never really been told. It's one of love, perseverance, survival. It has all these elements of this amazing story, and yet it's never been captured on the screen. And I think as a director, as a filmmaker, that really drew me to this story and really has made me passionate about telling it in the right way as well.
James Morrill is a very relatable fellow. He was an Englishman in the 1800s, and his original vision was set to be a sailor on the seas. His dream was kind of cut short when he was shipwrecked.
He was lost at sea for 42 days with only 7 other survivors. Once he washed up on shore, they were on the brink of death. And that's when the tribe, the Birri clan, came in and actually saved them. The other people who survived actually passed away from natural causes, but James didn't, and he actually went on to live with them. He was accepted into their tribe. He learnt their language, he learnt their culture, he lived exactly like one of them.
To the point where he actually married an Aboriginal girl and they have a family. But he has to then protect that family, that Aboriginal family of his, and he, after 17 years of living with them, tries to reintegrate into white society.
So he could actually reason with the settlers, reason with this new frontier of British people coming through.
So the very people that James once called his own were now destroying everything that he cared about.
I think what's been great is over the last few years I've been fortunate enough to work in different communities like throughout New South Wales, and working alongside different indigenous tribes and being able to hear their stories and capture that through the documentaries that I have been on. I think taking that knowledge and bringing it into this film, I feel keeping it raw and natural and using a lot of natural elements will really make you feel more of what James would have gone through during that time.
So I got in touch with Eddie Smallwood. He's the Bindal applicant for the Gujarat Reference Indigenous Corporation. And we wanted to get to meet him and talk to him and get more stories, basically, from the local people up there.
So going up to northern Queensland and seeing where James was shipwrecked, where he lived with the indigenous people, I think was very valuable. And especially meeting with the Birri clan and not just get their approval, but to be invited onto their land and onto country.
And that was quite a pivotal moment for myself as an actor, to feeling the sun burn your skin, feeling the ground beneath your feet, tasting the bush food and smelling the ocean in the air. And so just as James had to leave the world as he knew it behind, he was welcomed by the Aboriginal people and would have experienced a smoking ceremony much like was offered to us when we went to Queensland.
This is the start of a great relationship for us making this film, because it's going to be so important for us to get the information, the collaboration. Whoever watches this film, they're going to realise that this is a part of history, and a part of history that everyone really needs to know about.
So I think it's important to tell this story as well through the eyes of James, going from a very British way of thinking into like speaking in their language, to thinking in their language, to thinking and feeling like an indigenous themselves. I think it's important to see that transition over time, and to be respectful in that as well, I think is very important. As a filmmaker, as someone who wants to bring reality to the screen, I want to tell that in the most honest, realistic way as possible. Our team and I are really passionate about making this film, and we hope that you allow us the opportunity to do so.